So, hi guys! Dito naman tayo sa pagtuklas ng bagong kaalaman tungkol pa rin sa history. Ito ay nabibilang sa final task. This is it. So, lesson 21. This is the summary. This is the societal implication of this topic relate to the current state of our country's predicament, as in the case of the Spratly Island, which was claimed by the Philippine government based on its geographical location as part of the Philippine Seas. This issue have heightened concern among Filipinos that even our simple fishermen will be unable to fish in this area due the Chinese government's claim and positioning of the sea territory. Where are the treaties being negotiated to the 1971 Constitutional Convention now? What are the claims of these two countries? This has an impact on us, the younger generation, and you must be watchful and knowledgeable about our lost constitution. Lesson 22. This lesson is on the Muslims' historical heritage in the Philippines. Facts show that throughout the first half of the 16th century, Islamic influence from Borneo and Sulu were beginning to take roots in Luzon. Islam was strengthened in the Mindanao not long after, thanks to the Sulu of Maloccas. The rise of Islam was the result of a complex interaction of political, economic, psychological, and social elements, as well as their ideological ramification. Lesson 3. Lesson 23. When the Philippines gained independence on July 4, 1946, it was divided into three provinces, which is the Luzon, Visayas, and the Mindanao. Even though the Moros retreat their goals, Mindanao was absorbed into the Republic. Muslim and indigenous peoples have been grumbling about being politically and economically sidelined since independence. With the exception of a few wealthy families, oil, lumber, nickel, cobalt, silver, and gold are among the Philippines' natural resources. Furthermore, the earth is lush and fruitful. Prior to Spanish colonialism, some residents were animalists while others were Muslim. Spanish colonization established Christianity on the country as a result of trade with the Arabs. Lesson 24. Recalling the 1976 Tripoli Agreement and the 1996 Jakarta Accord between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Moro National Liberation Front, as well as the OIC's Resolution Number 56, issued on November 12, 2000, at the 19th session of the Islamic Summit Conference in Doha, State of Qatar, urging the GRP and the MNNF to immediately put an end to armed hostilities and pursue peace talks toward finding a peaceful. The cholera outbreak of 1902 to 1904 has been portrayed as a one drama centered on American valor and medical force. Troops ordered to guard against infection of the Manila water supply carried cholera into the Marikina Valley east of Manila. Cholera claimed the lives of people from all walks of lives. American military and residents are among them. Cholera is a disease that causes diarrhea, vomiting, and muscle cramping in the small intestine. It caused by the bacteria Vibrio cholera, which can be spread by contaminated water or food. People who contract the condition may experience severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, which can lead to death. How the cholera spread? so swiftly was likely due to a number of factors. First, there was a lack of doctors in the province, which made it difficult to diagnose and treat illness other than cholera. Sanitary conditions were also understandable bad by today's standards, with drinking and personal hygiene water source from open wells or rivers in many situations. 26. Reflection. The subject is the mental, often known as the Little Tokyo of the pre-war Philippines. Few people are aware that Davao City and Japan has a long history together. A prosperous population of over 30,000 Japanese live in Barangay Mintal, the city economic core more than a century ago. A century later, only a few Japanese memorials, cemeteries, and monuments remain the neighborhood, serving as a window into the past. The Kinga Municipal District in Davao, dubbed a Little Tokyo, became the hub of trade and settlement for the Japanese expatriates working for OTA, Development Corporation, and Furukawa Plantation. Davao was completely under Japanese control by 1930s, and their economic growth gave them political as their population grew to 17,900 by 1993. To care for such a large population, facilities were built to serve the people. The school, clinics, commercial, and infrastructure facilities, to name a few, are all located in Mintal and are run by Japanese or Filipinos who have studied in Japan. The facilities became known as being among the best Mindanao at the time, thanks to the usual Japanese efficiency. So next, after Manuel L. Quezon, ay lesson 27. In Sergio Osmeña, September 9, 1878, October 19 to 1961, became President of the Commonwealth of the Philippines. Osmeña and General Douglas MacArthur returned to the Philippines on October 20, 1944. He oversaw the Commonwealth administration that was temporarily reconstituted in Tacloban, Leyte, and on October 23, 1944, following Japan's defeat, Osmeña restructured his administration to fulfill the country's needs. He signed in the executive order on March 7, 1945, restoring the executive departments of their pre-war form. So, Osmeña called a special session of Congress on June 9 to make his one and only state the national address. Lesson 28. According to his State of the Nation address, Ramon Magsaysay, the Third Republic's president, stated during his inaugural speech that agriculture would be a top focus for his administration. Magsaysay put programs in place and policies that boost agriculture and empower rural population are critical to national development recovery. He said he was also known as the individual president and Palawan agriculture champion, and he urged improving irrigation system to boost farm output. Lastly, as required by the Republic Act No. 1632, often known as the 1971 Act, the Constitutional Convention Act, ratified by Congress in August, the 1971 Constitutional Convention formed of 320 elected delegates and presided over the former President Carlos P. Garcia and later by President Diosdado Macapagal, was tasked on December 24, 1970 with framing a new character to replace the 1935 Constitution. On December 1, 1972, a few months after martial law was declared, the 1971 Constitutional Convention sent the text to the President Marcos. So, thus, the 1973 Constitution was important for allowing for the shift from president to parliamentary role. The bicameral register created by the 1935 Constitution was replaced by unicameral National Assembly, batasang pambansa. The President is the head of state and chief executive, while the Prime Minister is the head of government. The head of government is chosen by the Assembly. Lastly, we, the sovereign people Filipino, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution in order to establish a government that will embody our ideals, promote the general welfare, conserve and develop our national patrimony, and secure the blessing of democracy for ourselves and our posterity under the regime of justice, peace, liberty, and equality. In conformity with the provision of Proclamation Number 3, as in 1986, the Constitutional Commission met President Corazon Aquino appointed 48 national, regional, and delegates to the Constitutional Commission in 1986 to develop a new constitution that is really representative of the people ideals. The ambition of the Filipino people, President Aquino, Proclamation 19S. So this is the lesson 9. The Philippine Constitution of 1987, which consists of a preamble and 18 articles, was drafted from June 2, 1986 on October 16, 1986. 18 sections that Constitution established a bicameral register consisting of the Senate and House of Representatives, divided into 3 equal branches: the executive, legislative, and judiciary. The House of Representatives, the Bill of Rights was included the Constitution. So, yun lang po ang share ko about my reflection in that task about the history of the Philippines, also the Philippine source book and supplementary. That's all. I hope you enjoy in watching. Salamat. Bye-bye guys.